What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Music Producer Revolution. This is Elijah, also known as the artist RedX, and here we are today with two tracks from a good friend of mine, someone that I've already given feedback to a long time ago, and asked me to dropped the party pack for us and asked for some feedback here with two of their tracks. This is Big Rolly, also known as Rolly 2K15 on Reddit. So here, I've already kind of listened to the songs earlier. Before I play both of these songs, I want to say to you, you'll notice on this one, as well as this demo as well, there are some EQs that I did. I'm going to play part of, let's say the first 32 bars, and then I'm going to play from the 16th bar, or really the 17th bar going into the 32, just so you can hear what I would do slightly different so far. Because what I like about everything that you have your arrangement really done well. This is just the slight mixing that I would do before you put it into the master. But otherwise, your songs are really good. I like the way that you tell your story in there. It's cohesive, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to actually play the songs, the first one being Jackpot Remix number 3. It's probably just the third rendition, and then I'll actually talk about it a little bit more. So first, the first 32 bars. Oh, let me turn off the EQ as well. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this on and replay that section with this EQ that I put on there. And when I first listened to this, and even as I listen to it now, it sounds as if your kick isn't really your sub bass frequencies. Here I believe it's at 60. Oh, it's actually basically 30 hertz, 29.7. I'm slightly bumping because your sub bass, if you look, if I did this, you'll be able to see it. Let's even turn off this one too. I don't want to be as flat as a curve as possible. Just go back. So your sub isn't as strong enough. So that's what I did when I first boosted it. I'm also going to add the slight boosting that I also did over here in the 1.16 kilohertz range. That was to really just bring up some of your mids a little bit more, especially with a lot of the other elements you have in your track. So with these slight boosts, this is what your song starts to sound like. So with that, it was really just because I didn't really feel the sub bass was as strong. So it could just be that you need to just slightly boost the levels. That's probably the easiest thing to do since you have a lot of other elements going on. But if you did this as part of your mastering process, that wouldn't be bad either. It's gonna just be dependent on what I would do personally. I would try to, if you feel like this is at a good stage, like 80%, like the arrangement's done, but like the mix and master is like 80% of the way there, I would try mastering it, see how what your mastering chain brings out, whether there's a lot of deficiencies, a lot of things that you don't like, and you have to go back to your arrangement and fix them. That might be one thing, but I would do that because you can use the master to guide what you need to go back and fix sometimes, whether something might be too loud actually and it doesn't sound that way in your pre-master. You know, these are things that the mastering effects chain could actually help you with, because it can bring out those sounds. I'm not going to keep the EQ onto this track, but I like the way, like, I really like the groove that you have here, especially with the intro. I really like the intro. It reminds me of, personally, it reminds me of Black Ops 2. There was like not necessarily like a nightclub level, but it was like a futuristic club level, but this kind of gives you that vibe. I like that. Maybe a Killing Floor vibe. Maybe I'm wrong about that reference. But yeah, let's go through the rest of the track as well. I'm just gonna say, right here, this is where I really start to figure out about the EQ. So if I go back to the build, it starts here. See, I can't really feel the driving drums that are building, but if you add that slight EQ bump in that sub range, so like even with that build, what I would do is I would probably have it slope in. Yeah, like that's something that I would look to do there, is bring the sub and the lower, yeah, basically the sub 100 frequencies in as you build it in with that drum, because like that, the way that it just punches through, it's just like boom, 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 as you have like the 16th, or maybe that's probably actually, yeah, it sounds like it's 16th notes, drums going on there, and then I might do like a silence there, so instead of like that drum fill, I might have it still go into that pre-vocal and then have it hit. So it would go like no drum fill, said no vocal with the vocal, no EQ with the EQ. It's been a long day, but you get the gist. That's basically what I would look to do there. Like your arrangement, spot on. Like your arrangement's done. This is just really mixing stuff there, and it's really just those slight, I don't know if it's necessarily differences, but it's slightly unique ways of processing, and how you go about thinking about how you want to develop your sounds and process them. You might find that in order to do what I did with automating the sub-frequencies, you might have to do that to a group. You might have to do it to like two groups. You might have to do it to, like, for example, your drum bus with whatever those build drums were. I want to say they weren't claps, but let me just listen to it again so I can actually stop being stupid. Snares. Can't believe that took so long, but you get the point. There's very few things I would do with the arrangement. I would consider that automation to be part of your mixing. If you try mastering just to boost everything up as it is, you might find that you don't need to do the EQ boost. But then you might find that you have to do it to the bus or two buses, like for example your bass group that might include your sub bass, or your sub bass group that includes a few different ones, plus your drums for the snare. So that's it with that one. At least there's not too much I would do arrangement wise, but with the mix you just have to, you're like nearly there, like you're 79.5% there. It's just a few slight tweaks, and it might be a little. It all depends on how precise you want to get, and even then, like, it's just like it could be as simple as an EQ boost or a volume boost, and then you're golden. Going to the second demo, this one is called Poppy 2. And again, I have this EQ here, but I'm not going to show it yet. I'm going to actually listen to the first 16 bars, possibly even the first 32. I think actually we could listen to the first 32 and then listen to it in context again. So we're going to do that. Let's do it. Sorry about the sun being in my face. The point of me being here is not just for my face, it's to just provide audio, because my other microphone is not good. So better this than anything. Okay, I'm actually going to listen to the first 32 again in context with the EQ. With the EQ, there's not as big as a bump in the low 30s. It's actually, it's more of a dip there at the hundreds. There's a slight boost, almost at the same, basically 112 kilohertz. We went down to 109. Slight boost there. And there's also a slight boost down in the low mids in the 230 hertz area. This was to kind of round out that sound. you should notice an effect in the drop. Here's how we gotta listen to it. Here's how it's gonna sound. I mean, you get it. So again, the thought process behind the EQ that I did here was to clean up the low ends, but to also, if you do notice, even if I just cleaned out the low end, if you it's very subdominant, which compared to the other demo wasn't as subdominant. It really drowns out a lot of the headroom from the other elements, such as the really like the snare, the clap. So that's where the thinking came in with this first one here at 109 kilohertz. It was to bring some life to that area, and you should be able to hear that. And so I was like, okay, but there's still, that takes care of like the part of the mids to like low upper mids in my opinion, but it still didn't really help bring balance to the rest of the song. I still felt that it was still very sub-dominant. So that's when I gave another slight boost to the low mids. I was like, if anything, that's going to bring out some more of the drums, the lower end of the drums, more of the transients, and that's going to help things punch through the mix a bit better. And that's exactly what it did, if you hear it again from this part. It's like you can actually hear your drums come through. You can hear the rhythms bounce together. It's a nice interplay on everything. It helps really accent your sound design choices and the rhythms that you've chosen to create your arrangement. So again, like compared to your other demo, in my opinion, these are both ready to go. Just some very slight tweaks like what I just did, and 80-90% of your song done there. Mastering is the rest. And even that, like, because you've done a good job with your arrangement and you're going to do a great job with your mix, the mastering things that you're going to do are such small tweaks that it's just going to really add that final sheen and polish to your track. I don't know if you know how to master yet, but that's something that I would look into if you don't. In fact, I'm actually going to, I've actually started to watch a mastering course about mastering, and I'm going to actually start taking it. But it's something that I would highly recommend, and maybe I'll actually do a video series on that too, to give it out to people for free, give out some knowledge and break down mastering, because it's a really important skill to know how to do as a producer. But let's go ahead and listen to the rest of the demo. Here we go. Oh, let's do it without the EQ.
Tírala para atrás.
Just going to go back to this section here and listen to it with the EQ. I think this section was where I developed the idea of boosting those mids because I wanted to hear more of that transient that came with that pluck. So let's hear that section again.
Tírala para atrás.
Yeah, it really brings out the lower mids and those transients that are down there. Like I could hear all of that pluck and especially all the runs that you were making with that, and it just made it so much more clear in the mix. I really think it's just a volume boost. I think you just need to boost your volume levels just slightly. It might be for some elements, whatever might be in that range that you want to hear, just try boosting it slightly. And whatever, again, I think you've done a good job at this, but just don't forget, sometimes we might forget that there's unnecessary frequencies, even in those lower mid areas from other elements. Like, we might also not need those elements. So you might take a second or third listen, it might be a third time, and decide that you might actually not need something that's down there. You know the elements that are in your song so far. But so far these are great. I really like these. If you were to do those slight volume boosts, I think you got some really good demos that are ready for you to ship out to some labels if you wanted to. I would also say if you wanted to possibly use these as demo submissions into the Digital Producers Guild that I run, then that could be something as well too. Like I think these are ready to go, and I think that you have a certain level of quality that is ready to be launched if you haven't already really launched your brand. But that's the conversation for off camera. If you wanted to learn more about this, for anyone that's watching, about how you can work with me as well as the Neo Sonus record label, I want you to go check the link down in the description about the Digital Producers Guild. This is something that just launched. We are accepting our first first founding cohort. We are doing our kickoff on August 1st. Go ahead and check the link in the description as well too for the Weekly WAV community. This is a community that's going to encourage you to finish more music, and we do this by doing our Weekly WAV cycle, our Weekly WAV challenge, and that's to get you to produce a song in 7 days. And the goal is for you to just maintain that consistency. If you're someone that's been struggling to produce music, maybe you've only produced a song in the last 5 months. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. No, it's unacceptable if you want more as a music producer. If you are someone that wants to finish more music and launch your artist brand, then join the Weekly WAV community. It's free. You'll find me there as well as other producers that are trying to also finish more music. And then if you want to work with me and work with a small group of other producers that want to actually not just finish more music but want to launch their artist brands, then that's where you go and check out the Digital Producers Guild. So that is the end of this episode of the Music Producer Revolution. Again, this is Elijah, and I will see you again in the next one. Peace.